to people you would consider disrespectful or angry fans, or people that are particularly heated, and what would you consider taking it too far?
There's actually kind of a thing where whenever I get kind of mad at people on the forums, it's very rare, and I think that it scares the crap out of people. So this actually seems to have worked in my favor, because I will see people being kind of jerks, and I just kind of like sit there and steam about it. And then when it gets to the point where I have to interject, Sirent has made jokes about how I will come in with like some sort of fucking like Paragon speech, and
Krista, stop smiling! Oh my god!
So I'll come in with one of my Paragon speeches, and I'll be like, you know what, like this is completely unacceptable, and here's a completely logistical explanation why. And usually it ends with people being like, I'm really sorry, I made you mad, kitten. And that actually makes a lot of sense, and I'm really sorry for being a jerk on the internet. So that kind of works for me. I'm just very, I don't know, like I'm a very much a people person, so whenever I see people that are just attacking each other or just being, I don't know, God-winning threads and things like that, I'm just like, you guys, like seriously, can you see yourself, you know? So I don't know, I think that people for the most part are very respectful. I think HTL is an awesome community. The people that I've met, like that I just keep up with even on Twitter, everybody's just really amazing. And so usually when you're like, hey, you're being kind of a troll, people are like, oh yeah, I kind of am. And then you have the couple people that are literally, they're just trolls. That's all they want to do. They are not there for the community. They're not there for the cause. They're not there for other people. And you just have to, you know, kind of, I don't know, I can't even remember if we've had to ban anybody yet, but you just have to be like, you know, like, this isn't acceptable. I've had people email me and be like, you know, this person is harassing me, and I'll go like mama bear, and I'll be like, you can't harass other members, like it's not appropriate, like if you want to get kicked out, that's what you're going for, it's working. But yeah, I mean, everyone's been really decent, and we haven't had to take like a lot of, I don't know, control over like situations, and you can pretty much just tell people that they're being, I don't know, disrespectful, and I don't know, everybody's pretty awesome for the most part.
Okay, question for you first, Victoria, and then I'm going to ask you the same question, Krista. What would you change, if anything, about the retake movement or hold the line, and what are you most proud of?
Definitely the most proud of the community. That's super easy. I just think that people are amazing, and stop it, chat, you're so distracting. And then really there's a few things that I would change, and really they're all very minuscule things that I think just kind of like hurt the overall idea of the things. And that's whenever things like I understand, but I didn't approve of the guy that went to like the Better Business Bureau and like things like that, where it's like you really didn't think that through. But with a movement that's so big, it's really hard to, you're going to have people that do stupid things. So things like that, things where people, I mean, like people that like Jessica had to block on Twitter, like things like that. Like you just want to shake them and be like, do you realize what you're doing? Like you're not helping by any means. People that are just, that destroy what you're working for are really the only things that I would really change, I think.
Okay. Victoria, same question. If you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, probably that, but I mean, I would change people's attitude. It's just like, I would also have world peace and solve hunger and, you know, improve tolerance across the nation, but no. That is obviously, if you could change anything. I think logistically something we could have changed. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure if there's anything, because it was such a grassroots kind of crazy movement, and I enjoyed that about it. But having said that, I think some things were said in anger or passion that perhaps people regret now, and I think I probably said some things that I don't mean, and because they're on the internet, they're there forever, and I wouldn't like to be pulled up. It's like, you said this, and I've not said anything particularly bad, but just things that I now think like, I was really wrong, I shouldn't have said that. And it would be really nice if you could go back. Oh, I mean, hindsight's got 20/20 vision, so you know, I mean, things like the cupcakes, for instance. after the fact, you see how it affected both sides, and I thought it was really funny and really cute, and I was totally behind it. I donated my money, and then my boyfriend said to me, because Bioware donated them and didn't seem very happy about it, and I was like, oh, you know, that's what a sourpuss. And my boyfriend said to me, how would you feel if everyone told you that you'd done this piece of work and it was crap, and then they put a cupcake on top of it? Like, you would feel ridiculous and humiliated and made fun of. And I was like, oh yeah. And it makes perfect sense. I'm like, oh man, I really didn't think of that. What a jerk. And it's just those kind of things you get caught up, and you don't see it from both sides. And having done that, I might do some things differently now. But the thing I'm most proud of is the place we're at now, which you kind of go through some teething issues, you figure out what you're doing. And like I said before, I think HTL's in a nice place, or it's going to be in a nice place soon.
Okay, same question to you, Jessica, not as community manager, but just as a player yourself. Do you think Bioware could have changed anything in the situation, and what are you most proud of them doing?
I think that, you know, this is something that everyone in the industry was really looking at, and I think that it wasn't, you know, the first time that it certainly wasn't the first time that anyone has taken issue with a piece of work or entertainment or art or, you know, whatever you want to call it, that they didn't like some of it and it had to be changed. Like, there's countless examples in film, in games, in books where there were rewrites that happened. But I think that in this situation, you really can't go wrong with not over communication, because there will get a point where you're over communicating and you are now starting to say incorrect information, or you're saying things that, you know, are not timely and later will be changed. But I do think that everyone took away from this that it's important to talk to your fans, because even if they don't agree with you, if they understand the reason behind why you're doing something, they're at least going to say, okay, well, I don't agree, but I respect you for treating me like an adult and talking to me about it. And I think that that's kind of the biggest thing that all game companies are going to take away from this is, you know, you can't take your fan base and you know, treat them like they are just you know, a number, and oh well, you know, that's just X amount of people who are saying that, because you know, the smallest group of people can make the loudest amount of noise, and that just carries. And again, like Victoria was saying, everything that you have on the internet is there forever. And so people can look, and, you know, people definitely have gone and said to me, well, you said this at this time, and then later this happened. And, you know, I'd say, well, yeah, but unfortunately it changed, but that was the information that existed and was true at the time. So I would say I hope that everyone takes from this that you need to communicate with your consumer base, and more importantly with your loyal fan base, and you need to treat them like equals, because if it weren't for them, you wouldn't exist. So you can, you know, go on as much as you want about making something and being proud of it, but if no one else is behind you, then you're just there kind of by yourself, tooting your own horn. So I think that everyone across the industry is going to take this and say, okay, well, look at the power that fans can have. And that's something that you're seeing at Comic-Con, for instance. If it's selling out in 3 hours, that's not because, you know, the industry has done anything to push it. That's because fans are so passionate about their entertainment that it's no longer just something that you do as a pastime. It becomes part of who you are, as part of your identity. And I think that that's a big thing that Bioware has taken away from this, is that, you know, Bioware doesn't even make great stories. They make great characters that make you feel like this character is part of your life, and that even after you put the game away, you can talk to your friends and you can talk about Garrus as if he was there walking around.
He was there!
Yes, he was there. He is there. I go to the writer's pit all the time, and I'll talk about them, and I'll be like, well, what is this person meaning with this? And I'm very lucky to not get like pushed out of the writer's room at that point. But everyone is a Mass Effect fan. Everyone who works at Bioware are fans of what we do. And I think that that's what I'm most proud of, is that, you know, obviously, like Victoria was saying, it's kind of when you're on the other side of it, it can be kind of like, oh, well, this is funny and this is a really cheeky way of getting our point across. But to the people on the other side, you know, this is really serious and no one wanted this to happen. And people took it really personally because we'd all been working, you know, like 16, 20-hour days on this. And then to find out that, you know, someone doesn't like something, that's, you know, no one's ever going to feel good about that. But I think that the team really picked themselves up and really took a lot of learnings from it. And they took it with a smile and said, okay, here's some amazing, you know, things that we've learned. We've learned that our characters have an impact on people's lives. And I've heard so many stories about the way that Mass Effect has touched different people and helped them get through illness and through death and through, you know, suicidal thoughts and through their own identity as, you know, their sex and gender. And, you know, you can't ever go home at night and not feel really proud about what you're doing in that sense.
I'm going to give it a moment of silence. Okay, now let's move to the extended cut. I know everyone wants to hear about that, and we'll talk about our own characters. Which option did you choose at the end? Synthesis, control, or destroy, and why? Victoria, let's start with you.
In the original or in the extended cut?
Let's say, first of all, in the original, did you change your ending from what the original was to the extended cut? Did you change it from those two, and then which one did you pick and why?
In the original, I picked control first, thought I'd made a mistake, and picked destroy, and then I was like, oh no, I don't like this. And I felt a bit like, I know, I felt like left hanging, and then when the EC came out, I was like, right, let's try this again. And I felt a lot worse about destroy this time. And to be quite honest, I struggle with the moral complexities of all three endings. I secretly like the refusal ending, but we may come to that later. If I'm still alive. I struggle with the morality of them all, and I feel at the minute like it doesn't have an ending for me because I can't make the choice. Like I won't. And I lean towards control. We had a really interesting discussion on the forum about the control ending and the possibilities that are opened with that. So I lean towards that as the lesser of evils, but I feel that the morality is just too much for me to pick and feel like good. Done, you know. So I feel like unchooser. I'm Victoria the Unready.
Okay. I picked synthesis in both, although I felt guilty about it in the first one because I felt like it was anti everything I had done up to that point, you know. And then suddenly I'm joining the two where I felt like, you know, you're fighting the Reapers, you should just destroy them, that's how it is. But I felt like in the extended cut, it was almost like synergy was where they want, or synthesis was where they wanted you to go. Like I felt like that was the one that had the most support, and it was almost like, here's the central path. Don't look there, don't look there, walk there. You know, like it seemed to me a little more just like the natural way your character went. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I'm going to move to, I think Krista, and you can answer that too if you want. I know I'm throwing like 5 questions at you at once. Pick one, choose.
So many questions. I agree with the thing about synthesis, where I felt like that was supposedly like the right answer. Like I got the impression, especially after the extended cut, that was like the one where Bioware was like, which one is the right answer? This is the good one. And actually, synthesis is, I think, after the extended cut, the most interesting. Whenever I saw synthesis originally, I was like, this is I don't like this. All this dumb. This is terrible. Why would I? Like, I literally. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, I was like, why would I choose that? That's terrible. But I actually found it to be the most fascinating in the DLC. I really liked. It sounds really. This is going to sound really shallow. I really liked the graphics. I liked what they did with the shimmering, like compute. Yeah. No, like on the people. Like the people would like to show that they were synthesized. Like I really like the graphics